Well, we got a rainy day today. It's Sunday, and somebody's bringing over a couple of push mowers today. Just can't seem to convince people that I'm closed on Sundays. They don't seem to understand that. I don't quite get it, but that's okay. So I made a video a few days ago where I was talking about mechanics complaining about modern day lawnmowers being junk. And I've tried to explain over and over again that they're not junk. They're actually really good mowers or engines or whatever. And they're so easy to work on compared to what they're talking about. Back there in the 70s and 80s when you had wheel horse and everything, I had a wheel horse. It was a used one, and Dad bought it. First thing we had to do. And I would imagine the wheel horse was made in the 60s. Let's just say 60s. And he bought it 79 or 80, somewhere around there. And so when he bought it, it was just smoking. I mean, it was smoking. And he and I rebuilt that engine at the shop that he worked at nighttime, and got back together. It was a Kohler engine, and over the lifespan of however long I had it, my grandpa and I, my dad and I, had to work on that thing almost nonstop. It was always having a problem. Coils and condensers and just always having problems. So my memory is they were hard to work on, and you always had to work on them. But the mechanics of today are always saying how great. Well, no, I mean, you even get in the comment section when I'm talking about lawnmowers of this channel, and people are saying, "Oh no, not today's lawnmowers. If it's got an overhead valve, don't even buy it." Well, you can't buy a lawnmower without an overhead valve, and that's what's so funny. Even when they're talking about the valves have to be adjusted. It's just part of it. So in the old days, you would literally have to take the valves out, grind them down, or buy new ones, and lap them, put them back in there, make sure they're gapped. If you didn't get it gapped right, you're grinding some more. If you grind too much, oh boy, that's a problem. So, that was a pretty complex, probably way that they have to adjust valves. Today, you unscrew a locking nut, and then you tighten a bolt or nut, and you put a feeler gauge in there, and when your feeler gauge, it's just so simple. Takes 15 minutes to do both sides. It would have taken you 2 hours to do it the old way. Well, maybe an hour, but you get the idea. So I don't see that modern day engines are junk. And they're so easy to work on. One of the most criticized lawnmower engines out there is called a Kohler Courage single cylinder. And they call it a bucket engine because Briggs & Stratton, in order to get inside the engine, you have to take the engine off the machine, turn it upside down, and take the sump off. But with the bucket engine, you can leave, it was made this way. You can take the top off of it, and you're inside the engine. I've made a video about it. Rebuilt one, and and there's plastic camshafts in there. I will admit that. But what's interesting about the plastic camshafts is only one of them will break, and when it breaks, you can switch it. There's two camshafts. You can switch it, and so you get double life out of it. So I don't know. I don't see this being a big problem. But one of the things that can happen is the bolts on top there can loosen up. Kohler didn't use any Loctite on it. And so when they loosen up, the bolt will go up into the flywheel hit it, and it cracks the block. And apparently, if you watch YouTube videos or you get on Facebook and you listen to mechanics on Facebook, every engine they've ever worked on, bucket engine, has that crack. I've worked on dozens of engines, well, let's say a dozen, maybe 2 dozen, Kohler bucket engines this year alone. None of them had the crack. None of them. None of them even have loose bolts. Well, one yesterday had one bolt that I was able to get a little bit of a tweak out of, but basically it was okay. The thing is if you read the instructions, it says check those bolts during every 50-hour service interval. It says it right in the owner's manual. So as long as you're doing maintenance on it, it's fine. But the thing is it's just so easy to work on. It's just incredibly easy to work on. The bucket engine is just, I love working on those things. And then you get into the Briggs & Stratton. And one of the things that always happens on the Briggs & Stratton Intech single cylinder is the camshaft compression relief breaks off. Happens quite frequently. But I've only seen it once, and it was an engine that someone gave me. I don't know the maintenance cycle of this engine. I don't know anything about it. It didn't have any oil in it when I got it. But anytime you get on a video and you see these things, syrup runs out when they drain the oil. It's like syrup. And all these mechanics on YouTube and on Facebook, oh, the Briggs & Stratton is junk. The single cylinder Briggs & Stratton is junk. Don't buy it. You're going to have a camshaft issue. Well, if you change the oil on a regular basis, I am suspecting they don't break. Again, I've worked on probably a dozen of them this year. None of them are broke. Lots of them with high, as long as you change the oil. So again, do your maintenance. So it seems to me it's a maintenance issue or a mechanic issue. I don't understand why mechanics are complaining about getting work. If someone gives me a bucket engine and it's got a leaky gasket, the valve covers on those leak quite a bit. It's a cork gasket. They might have one here. I just replaced one the other day. I wonder if I can find it. So you can see that's pretty soaked with oil. Now this engine has 800 hours on it. And I think it's a design, they actually designed it this way to leak after a certain amount of hours. You're supposed to check the valves every 200 hours. I bet they start leaking around 200 hours. I mean, doesn't this make sense? Nobody checks the valves and then they complain the engines are failing because, you know, the valves need adjusting. But in the old days, you had to grind and lap them, and that was much easier. So they designed it to leak, so it forces you to replace the gasket, and while the cover is off, just as well go ahead and check the valves. So I think it was they decided to do it that way. So I don't find this a problem. I mean, if they want to come in and have me replace that gasket, check the valves, great. That's money for me. I don't understand the complaint. So, but again, you get on Facebook, oh, don't buy that engine, don't buy it. And according to everybody on Facebook, basically you're not supposed to buy any lawnmower anymore because they're all junk. What I've learned, though, on Facebook is really nobody knows how to work on them. They say they do, but you get a ton of people that have no idea what they're talking about. So yesterday, I watched this big YouTuber, probably the third biggest that I can find, lawnmower mechanic. And what was funny is I just worked on it was a plastic carburetor from Walmart. It's a plastic carburetor on their Hyper Tough. And I think Snap-on uses them, you know, different companies use them. So that day, yesterday, I worked on a Hyper Tough, and it takes me 15 minutes to clean that carburetor. I mean, it is the easiest carburetor I've ever worked on. 2 screws, you pop off the cover, plastic cover. You don't even have to clean the cover. You spray it with the carb cleaner because it doesn't degrade. The gas doesn't degrade the carburetor. You pop out the float, and then you pop out this little cartridge. And then you take the cartridge apart and you clean it. And there's no pitting. You know, sometimes those carburetors, the metal ones, can start to pit, and it's a 50% chance whether you're going to get those things to run again or not. So, like I said, 15 minutes, and it's back together, and it's running. I don't think I'm the best mechanic out there, so I'm not trying to brag. So this guy, this YouTuber, shows us, just coincidentally, how to clean this carburetor. And I thought, hey, you know, I'm going to watch this video. Now, you got to understand, in the past, I've worked on lawnmowers, but I've never worked on a plastic carburetor back then. So working on plastic carburetors nowadays is a brand new experience for me. So he's showing us how to do it, and he takes it apart and he takes the cartridge out. Now I told you the cartridge comes apart. So when you get the cartridge out, there's one more piece that you take apart, and it all snaps. It's just a snap-on assembly. It's like a snap-on model car that you build. It's just so simple. So he takes the cartridge out and he says, now I've talked to dozens of mechanics and everybody says you got to buy a new carburetor. Now I disagree. You don't need to buy a new carburetor. You need to learn how to be a mechanic. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn. And he takes a micro drill and he starts drilling one of the holes on the cartridge bigger. And I thought, why didn't you take the cartridge apart first before you started modifying it? I didn't understand that. Because when you take it apart, there's these emulsion tube, little holes that you got to clean. Again, no big deal. So, and he failed to clean those. So what he essentially did was bypass those little holes that are important by drilling out the bigger hole. And I thought, well, this guy has no idea how to clean these things. He's a big YouTuber, and he's a, you know. So coincidentally, again, a third coincidence in one day, someone posted on Facebook a plastic carburetor. He says, anybody know how I should do this? And there was a bunch of people in there. Oh no, just replace it. Just replace it. It's terrible. You got to drill it out. So they just watched the video that I just watched. You got to drill it out. And if you don't have micro drills, you'll never get that thing to run. $20 on Amazon, and which, you know, isn't a bad option. I mean, if you want to just replace it, that's fine. I understand that. But many of the commenters said, I don't understand what you're saying. These are literally the easiest carburetors ever to clean, which I agree. No one had to tell me this. I just discovered by cleaning it how easy it is to clean. I love cleaning. I would work on that carburetor all day long. If somebody just wanted to assembly line a bunch of Walmart hyper tough lawnmowers in here with dirty carburetors, you know, it's all profit. Everything I do on that is all profit. Pop it off, take it apart, clean it, put it back together, put it back on, put it on the ground, starts up, second pull every time. So I just find it interesting how everybody on Facebook, not everybody, but most everybody, just parrots exactly what the YouTubers say. And you know, they can't be mechanics. There's this one guy on YouTube. He's a small channel, but he claims to be just the smartest guy in the world. I've been doing this for 5,000 years. I'm a mechanic. And he doesn't know how to fix anything. He makes every video and he says, you guys have any clue how to fix this? Yeah, learn how to work on lawnmowers. If you're going to teach someone how to work on a lawnmower, maybe you should learn how to work on a lawnmower. I don't know. So, but this kind of reminds me of automobiles. You know, all automobiles are junk. But I remember, you know, growing up, everybody, you know, Ford found on road dead, and I'm sure there was a thing for Chevy. I don't remember what it was, but everybody hated one brand or another of trucks. I remember my cousin hated Fords. Well, I love Fords because our grandpa, my cousin and me, our grandpa had a Ford. And I actually tried to, long story, I tried to get that Ford one time when I was 16, and that didn't work out. But anyway, he loved Fords. So I grew up, and the first new vehicle, well, yeah, the first new vehicle I bought, brand new one, was a Ford Ranger. And I'm telling you, I hated that thing. It wouldn't get out of its own way. It was terrible. So I sold it eventually, traded it, and I got a Chevy S10. I decided I wasn't going to buy Fords anymore. Even though I grew up loving them, I wasn't going to buy them. And the Chevy S10, oh man, that was a powerhouse. Both of them four-cylinder. Was a complete powerhouse compared to that Ford Ranger. I loved the Chevy S10, and ever since then, I've owned Chevys. Anytime I bought a new vehicle, I've owned a Chevy. Right now, I have a Chevy Colorado. I love the thing. It's a great vehicle. But that doesn't make Ford a bad vehicle. I mean, just because I don't like them because I have one bad experience, it really doesn't make it a bad vehicle. I mean, it's like the #1 selling vehicle on the road is Ford trucks. So apparently somebody likes them. Apparently, so it's just a matter of opinion whether you like something or not. To me, if you're going to work on something, You should be proud to get to work and not complain, oh my gosh, these are junk. Don't buy them. Don't bring them to me. They're junk. I mean, the one guy on Facebook I was reading, I would never work on a Kohler engine. They're junk. Well, since most of the MTD brand lawnmowers have a Kohler engine, so that's like Troy Built and Cub Cadet and Husqvarna, use Kohler, yeah, I guess you're not going to get any work. One guy said, I don't work in it with anything that has an overhead valve. Well, since everything sold today has overhead valves, I guess you're not doing anything. Makes no sense to me. I don't know. I just wanted to do a little rant video today that I don't understand the mentality today. First, they just parrot whatever they hear on YouTube, and then they hate everything. Nobody likes anything. Just do your job. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video over my other channel. It's going to be a brand new video today. I really appreciate it. Check it out. So if I can inspire you to do your job, sing of your dreams. Thanks for watching.